I always say, if you're not picking up niggly injuries in fight camp, you're not training hard enough. Every fighter will have gone into a fight with some sort of injury. You'll have something in the back of your mind. You might have a little twinge somewhere, or you might have some joints that are stiff and stuff like that, or you might have pulled an hammy or something like that. You're always struggling against something, especially if you're training as hard as you should be. The thing is, you've got to listen to your body, because there's a time and a place where you do actually have to pull out. Otherwise, you're putting yourself at danger, and you're not only risking your reputation, you're risking your health and stuff as well. It took me many years to realise this, because I've done some very, very stupid throughout my career, and we're going to talk about a few of them here. Some of them sometimes I got away with it, other times I got hiding. But like you say, you've got to listen to your body, and like I say, the older I've got, the more I realise, thinking, wow, I can't believe I actually did that, because your health's on the line in this sport, in this game. And like I say, every fight we're picking up injuries in camp. It's just part of it. You've just got to get on with it. There's certain things that you just think, you know what, grit your teeth, get through it. There's certain times though when you've got to listen to your body and go, hang on, am I being a bit stupid here?
So what's the difference between being hurt and being injured? What is enough of a justification to pull out of a fight?
So obviously when you've got an injury that's really pulling you back out of training, if you can't train, if you know you're not going to be able to get through the camp, or you know you're going to go into the fight 50% or something like that, say like, I don't know, say, for example, you've pulled an hamstring or something like that. You can work around it. You can box. You can get on the bike instead of running. You can work around it, and you'll be able to get yourself to the fight, to the point where it's not really going to matter too much whether you twinge it again in the fight and stuff like that. That's a little pull. If you've done something like ridiculous, like torn your hamstring, I've seen people trying to carry on training through this and try and drag themselves to the fight. But stuff like that, when you injure yourself that badly, you've got to look at things like, is this going to be knocking years off my career? Is it going to be worth having a fight, and then I'm sidelined for 6 months while I get this tear sorted and stuff like that? So you just got to be smart. You've got to have decent physios around you, which I never had coming up through my prime. I've not had guys like Morpho and Steve and people like that around me until I got to my 30s. Luckily, they can help manage injuries and stuff and get me through the camps when that's happened. But there's been times when I have been injured to the point where he said, this is going a bit too far now, this is going to be dangerous. And you don't want to be like knocking years off your career just for one fight. You've got to sometimes look at things and say like, yeah, fair dues. I'm injured here, I might not be able to fight this time. You live to fight another day, I might be able to fight in another month or two. Or you drag yourself through it, have the fight, win, lose or draw, then you sideline for 6 months to a year. Obviously most fighters in the prime of their career are looking to make a career and earn money from fighting. So you've got to, and obviously if you're not fighting, most fighters will be straight back in the gym coaching and teaching. And if you can't do that, you're not going to earn money, so you've got to be smart.
Talk about being smart. We picked out about 3 fights. I'll let you pick which one you want to speak about first. We picked out about 3 fights where you did fight injured. You probably wouldn't advise fighters you're training to fight if they were that injured. Tell me about one of them.
Okay, so we'll do them in chronological order. So the first one was against Suya Yamato. So this was for the vacant Yokkao World title. And although the Yokkao World title won like a WBC or something, only elite guys had held this. It were Pacon, I think Sanchai before him, and then the title became vacant, and I got offered to fight him, Yamato, for the vacant title. And because some high-level fighters were fighting for it, and Yamato's a very high-level operator, I wanted to do it. The reason I wanted to do it is because I'd fought for that title before against Pacon, and Pacon beat me on points. But Yamato had just beaten Pacon, and then he went on to TKO a fighter who beat me twice, Sagatdao. And I thought, like, listen, this guy beat them two. This'll get me right back up in there. I was meant to defend my WBC title in January, and then I was going to fight.
What year was this?
This was about 2015-ish, 2015, 2016. I was going to defend my WBC title in January, and then I was going to fight for that title in March. Like an idiot, I broke my hand in December. We won't go into why. We won't go into why.
Save that for another video.
I was just doing stupid things that you shouldn't be doing. I broke my hand, and I've got a metal plate in it here, and the bone came right up through the skin. So I went straight to hospital, and they went, right, you need an operation. Come back tomorrow, we'll put you to sleep. We'll put a metal plate in it. I'm thinking, fucking hell, I'm not going to be able to defend my WBC title here. So I told the WBC I broke my hand, and they just stripped me of the belt. I thought, oh shit. And then if you can't defend it, you've had it a certain amount of time now, someone else has to fight for it. I'm like, oh, bollocks, fucking hell. So then I thought, well, if then I said to the doctor, like, how long before I can get back? He went, no, 12 weeks, you should be able to start training. And I'm looking at calendar, thinking, well, it's only 10 weeks to this fight. So I said, well, I'm going to have my hand in a cast or after you played it. No, so don't want it in a cast. You'll have it in a claw. And it was just to keep my arm straight like that, to keep the plate straight. So I thought, I can train in that. And I thought, I'm not losing my WBC title, and then I'm not losing the opportunity to fight for this title. So I didn't tell anyone that I'd brought my hand. I just said I'd got on with training. I didn't put any videos on Instagram or anything like that. Because back then, 2015, 16, social media were around, but it wasn't like everyone posting on Instagram when they're training every day and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't pull out the fight, and I did the entire camp with the claw thing on my hand. I had one glove on this hand. I was pretending to jab. I can't jab because my shoulder's fucked up. I was pretending to jab and then just whacking pads with my right hand. I got through the camp and I didn't put a glove on until about 8 days before the fight, 8 or 9 days before the fight. I couldn't clinch. I couldn't punch. I couldn't spar, obviously. All the sparring had to be kick sparring, but then again, I had to have my hand right up here and just let people kick me because I couldn't catch it.
What did it feel like if there was any contact?
Oh, it was horrendous. So, like, when you think about when your hand's been plated, it was there, you can see the scar there. That's where the plate is on there. So my hand were in that thing for about 3 or 4 weeks before I were even allowed to take it out. And then I'm starting doing all my rehab. It took me another 3 weeks before I could even make a full fist because my hand was just slowly, every week we're going by, I was getting closer and closer to a fist, and I couldn't make a full fist until about 10 days before the fight. And then I said to the surgeon, I went, is this going to be settled in now? I said, just on the off chance, I punched the pad because he told me not to fight. What'll happen? He went, no, it should be pretty solid by now. And I thought, boom, that's all I needed to hear. It should be solid by now. So when they put the gloves on me to fight, and I was thinking in my head, right, do I just throw a fucking left hook as hard as I can early doors, just so I know in my head that I'm not worried? And I threw one and no happened. And then after the fight, my hand were absolutely fine. And I threw my left hook loads in that fight, to be fair. But it was fucking horrendous because I was not in any sort of condition that I should have been in. It was winter time as well, so there were some days where I neglected going out and running and doing my sprints because the floor were slippy and icy, and I thought if I fall over and put my hand down, I'm just going to set this end back. So I haven't been doing that. I obviously couldn't spar, I couldn't clinch. It had been a pretty half-assed camp, to be fair. I still had it in my head. I'd talked myself into it. I think, you'll be fine, you'll just batter him, you'll just win on points, it'll be easy. I didn't realise how fucking tough Yamato actually was, because I remember for the first 2 rounds, all I did was boot his leg to fuck. All his leg were red. And I'm thinking, why is he not flinching? Usually people after 2 rounds getting the legs kicked, I can see in their eyes, they'll start to flinch a little bit. He just had this poker face that didn't change. I landed some real fucking heavy punches on him and his face never changed. And I remember at the end of round 2, I was fucked. I was thinking, fucking hell, I'm exhausted here, I'm knackered. And I sat in corner and I looked over at him in the other corner. No one was rubbing his leg, no one putting ice on his leg, and he was just sat there staring at me like that. And I thought, oh fuck, this guy's crazy. And I had to say to myself then, I had to have a proper word, fucking come on, you pussy. This is going 5 rounds, so how much do you want to win it here? And I changed my fighting style a little bit. I was kicking his leg a lot, trying to fucking hurt him, and I thought, I just can't hurt this guy. I thought, I'm not as sharp as I should be. I'm probably not as strong and as explosive as I should be. I just had to start. I went on the back foot. I had to start throwing left kicks. I swept him a few times, just picking the points up. And then I got a bit tired in like end of round 3. I was really fucking tired. And he started just swinging elbows in. He cut me fucking horrendously down the side of my eye with an elbow, which couldn't get stitched at the show. I had to go to hospital and get the plastic surgeon to do it.
In the fight, do you know how bad the cut is? Like, are you aware of how bad it is or not?
No, not really at the time. I sat back down. When I get cut in a fight, I'll sit back down and I'll always go, how bad is it? Because if it's really bad, the corner will go, you need to fucking go do something here. So I sat back down and went, how bad is it? And Richard went, don't worry. And I trust the judgment. And Richard will always stay calm. The person I will look to and say how bad it is Andy, because I know Andy will just go, yeah, that's fucking bad. You better go do something, you know what I mean? So I sat down, I looked at Richard, I went, how bad is it? And Richard went, don't worry. I looked at Andy and Andy went, it's all right.
Okay.
But it was bad. But luckily, we're on the outside of my eye here. It wasn't right dripping right into my eye. We're on the outside. So the blood rolling down here and it wasn't going into my eye. But yeah, I won on points. And it was, when you're scoring Muay Thai correctly, like, I was sweeping him or throwing him in the clinch. I was scoring lots of left kicks. But it was so fucking hard. And I remember thinking, I'm never doing as stupid as that again. Luckily, my hands were all right. If I'd have been fighting a Thai, I think no, because I'd not clinched whatsoever. Luckily, the Japanese fighters aren't that great in the clinch. The more fucking kickboxing style, punch and kick. Luckily, when I was grabbing him in the clinch, I could still throw him down. If I'd have fought a Thai champion, which is what I was regularly doing at that time, I'd have got killed in the clinch because I'd have had no condition. I wouldn't have been able to lock on and grab and stuff like that. So, luckily, I chose to do that fight against someone who wasn't a great clinch fighter, but I still took some fucking horrendous punishment in it, and it was just, it made me think at the time, I'm never doing this again until the next time I did it again.
Did your doctor ever find out that you fought then?
No, because I've never gone back to that. I haven't, that was the last, so I broke this hand 4 times, this right hand, and I broke this hand once, and that was the last time I actually broke it. Because I don't do stupid shit in training and stuff anymore, and luckily, this is held in place with this plate now. It's more solid than it's ever been. This hand never gives me problems. It's that one with big fucking lump on that's in pain all the time. Because every time I've got broke that, I've just left it to heal itself. So I should have just got it plated.
Next fight?
Yeah, the next one with the Rodlek one again. Not a very smart idea to do it somewhere like against someone like him, but
that's with the 3 leg kicks that gets played over and over.
Yeah. Again. That I just had my first knee surgery before that fight, like 12 weeks prior to it. My meniscus had been, I tore my meniscus badly. Oh, it must have been about 15 weeks because I was on crutches for 3 weeks. And then I was just trying to get sorted to get MRIs and stuff like that. But my meniscus had tore so bad, it tore off the joint and tore off and got stuck in the knee joint. So my leg locked like there. It wouldn't move anywhere from there. So I was on crutches because it wouldn't bend, it wouldn't do anything. And I was on crutches for like 2.5 weeks. And I was watching my leg muscle just get smaller. And so I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I was messing around on NHS and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm going private. So I went private, got operated on within a week. And it removed it from the joint and tried to fix it up a little bit. And I said to him, right, when can I fight? He went, 12 week, you'll be back full training at 12 week. I went, yeah, but I've got a fight in 12 week. He said, is there any point me telling you not to do it? I went, no. And it was my second time at one championship. And the first time I'd lost against Pechmorikox. I just stepped in at late notice, at a week's notice. And I'd lost because it were at the wrong division and stuff like that. And I thought, right, I need to put that right. And I couldn't get it out of my head. So the first 6 weeks of that Rodlek camp, I had 12 weeks of the fight. First 6 weeks was just trying to strengthen my leg back up. There was no Muay Thai training. No game plan, no anything going on. I was just trying to get that leg strong enough to be able to then do a bit of a camp. So we did that for 5 or 6 weeks. And then I did 3 weeks training in England. And then I went to Thailand for 2 weeks and finished training in Thailand.
When you go to bed at night, are you ever thinking like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this?
Yeah, every day. But then I just thought, honestly, I used to talk myself into it going, it'll be all right. I used to just tell myself all the time because I punched hard. I'd just tell myself, you're all right, you'll knock him out. So I had it in my head all the time that at some point I'll hit him on chin and just knock him out and it'll all be all right. But then I didn't realise that I was fighting a guy with an absolute fucking brickhead. Like him, I may as well have just gone outside and punched a lamppost or kicked a lamppost because he was just made of steel.
And his nose is, you're not going to do any more damage to that.
So I'd got my leg back strong and all right and that. But again, I'd only done like a 5 week camp, but when you're coming back off of being on crutches and injured and all the rest of it for that long, you need longer than 5 weeks to get yourself back in top shape, especially to fight someone like him. The first time he kicks my leg in that fight, he does a 1-2 hook and a low kick, and my legs nearly flip out from under me because my leg wasn't solid on the floor at the time. Obviously, it ended up, I'm glad I did that fight though, because it ended up being a classic. Everyone fucking loved it. I really enjoyed it when I was in there. My leg, other than that first low kick, my leg didn't actually bother me. And he kicked my leg hard a few times and stuff as well, and it were all right. And it ended up being like one of the most talked about fights that year, probably fight of the year that year, and everyone still replays it now and goes over it and stuff. So that one wasn't too bad. I wish I would have been that extra little bit sharper and a bit more switched on, because you don't really want to be going into fights with worries in the back of your mind and shit like that. But it is what it is, and I still love the fight, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
Have other fighters come and spoken to you and said, should I be fighting, like asked for your advice when they're in a bit of pain?
Loads of times. And my reply is always, listen, I don't want to give you bad advice, because people come to me, they hear about these stories and stuff, because I spoke about a few of them before, and I've spoke about being injured and fighting, and they'll say, oh, I saw you fought being injured like that. Do you think I should do it? And I'd say, listen, I'm not going to give you any advice. I said, like, I don't know how your body's going to react. Mine reacted this way, but you might go in there and you might blow. Say if you've got a fucking dodgy knee, you might blow your entire knee out. And I don't want to be responsible for you being out for 9 months and having to have a full knee construction or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So my answer is always the same: get a good rehab specialist and talk it out with him. I said, I'll always tell him I don't want to be responsible if anything goes terribly wrong.
I know that you say that you can rely on your hands and you've got good boxing and a real powerful left hook that everyone knows about now, but there must be something a bit more than that, because it's not normal to say that you're going to be able to train in 12 weeks but instead have a fight in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? Is it something that throughout your career, do you feel as though you've had to prove something to yourself? Is it you don't want anyone to say, oh, he bottled it from this fight? Where does it come from?
Do you know what? I feel it might be that a little bit, but I don't want, because it's like, you know what it's like on fucking internet with all trolls and everything, going, hey, bottle it, he's scared, he's this, and fighters always want to fight, obviously, like, especially when you're on a big stage like One and stuff as well. We mentioned before, like that time, that was before my website, and I was doing seminars and stuff, but I needed the money as well, do you know what I mean? I was still fighting for money. I was a prize fighter at that time, and if I needed to get like 5 or 6 fights in a year, and I just had a long layoff where I'd missed 12 weeks of it from my leg being splattered, so I missed the first part of the year. I think I fought in January in Italy, which I won. And then I came back to the gym the week later, and that's what happened. My meniscus. To be fair, I had that fight in Italy with the meniscus because it had happened, and my leg kept locking. And I didn't know why it kept locking. I think, why does it keep locking? And I went on Google and it said you will have a meniscus tear. And I read about it. I thought, oh, this doesn't sound that bad. I'll get away with another couple of years.
Normally, if you Google it, you're dying.
Yeah, but I was reading all about it, and I thought, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. I'll probably get away with another couple of years here before it's too badly damaged, and I'll have to get it fixed. Literally, the next time I went in the gym and threw a left kick, it tore off the fucking joint and got stuck in the joint. So, yeah, but like I say, I wouldn't change that because it ended up being a great fight. But yeah, I think you're trying to prove something to yourself. Like, obviously, I'm trying to earn money. I'm trying to you don't want people saying, hey, he's bottleless and that. And I wanted to be involved in one championship that time because it was just getting big, and I'm glad I did, and I'm glad we made that fight because it was special for both of us, I think.
Yeah, and look, you look at your career and it is full of those kind of moments. And there's one fight in the Nong-O fight that we said we were going to speak about, and that sort of look on your face when you took that kick, it's something that we hadn't really seen from you before. It was like you kind of realise that something's not right here. Like normally, look, you've been in places where you'd try and get up and whatever, but you knew. What was different about that one?
So you saw my leg lock at that Nong-O fight. So again, that was meniscus that were just...
You look like confused, putting your hands up in the air.
Yeah, because my leg just fucking locked like that. So in that fight, there must have been a lot of wear and tear at the time or something, or I don't know, but ACL went, MCL went, medial meniscus and lateral meniscus all went. So like my knee must have just been fucked at that point. And I don't care who kicked me. I think anyone would have done that to me at that point. It could have been fucking anyone, and my leg had just gone. It just so happened to be in the fucking title fight, the biggest fight of my career. Like everything just went to shit. But like you saw my leg, like it was locked and it was shaking a bit like that. That one, my meniscus stuck in the joint again. I got the full knee construction after that, and I fought a few times after it, and it's been sound since then. So all the work I put back into rehab, and then there were no rushing back. There were no, I'll be back in, you need 9 months to rehab it full strength. No, I'll do it in 5 and I'll have a fight. I didn't do any of that. I took it very, very seriously because I knew if I didn't, that was my career over. I didn't miss a day for 5 months straight. Didn't throw a kick for 5 months, even though they told me, you can't kick for 9 months. My rehab specialist, he said, I'll have you kicking at 5 months. He said, don't miss a day with me. And I didn't. I was with him every day. I was religious with it, and like my leg now, I never have any pain. And I did go get some stem cell treatment after the surgery and stuff as well. I don't have any pain anymore, no swelling, no problems whatsoever. My knee feels stronger than it ever did.
What was that 5 months like?
Horrendous. Because I couldn't get out of my head. I'd just been stopped in first minute at first round in a title fight. It's embarrassing as it is, do you know what I mean? Then let alone, can't even get back at the gym and say, right, I'm going to fight next and put it right. Can't do that. I was just sat in back of that ambulance for God knows how long thinking, this is ridiculous. And then it took me, I didn't fight for about 18 months because I was trying to get my leg back as strong as possible and make sure I didn't cut any corners. And then it still started swelling up a little bit again. And then I got the stem cell, which totally fixed it. And ever since then, it's been absolutely fine. I don't have touch wood. I don't have any. No, that's not wood. Touch wood. Yeah, touch wood. I don't have any problems with it at all anymore. So that's because I put the work in and did it all properly and rehabbed it to maximum strength. And even now with my S&C, I still do a lot of work keeping my hammies, quads and glutes strong and stuff like that, just to keep it in the best possible place. But yeah, I was gutted about that fight because I fought all the legends from this era, and we've all had good wars with them all. Some have beat, some have lost to. None of them have just blown me away like that. It was fucking embarrassing, and it was just shit that it happened in that fight. But again, it is what it is. The thing is as well, I didn't have any inkling before the fight that my knee were in that state. Maybe it was just that kick that, because you saw my leg flop all over the place, maybe it was just a great timed, powerful kick. Or maybe my knee was ready to go and anyone would have done it. So
we've got so much respect for Nong-O, obviously, amazing fighter. But having seen him then go on to get stopped by punches against Haggerty, against Nico Carrillo.
Well, he's lost 4 of his last 5.
Yeah, but does that make you think that, like, you know... I know this is probably the last thing you want to hear, but do you feel like that?
Definitely. I know that if I'd have hit him on the chin, he'd have gone. Obviously, his job was to stop me hitting him on the chin, and he targeted my knee to do that, and his tactic came out top because he absolutely obliterated my leg, didn't he? But that's the game. I know if I'd have hit him with 4 round schools, I'd have probably knocked him out, but that's like saying, oh, if I'd have done this or if I'd have done that, you know what I mean? That's in hindsight. I didn't. He stopped me, and that's that.
And then we're going to move on to the Isaac Araya WBC Diamond Belt title fight that you fought this year. Now, this fight was really interesting because a lot of the build-up to it was amazing. This is Liam Harrison's homecoming, the last dance. But there was a certain sector of the fan base thinking, well, kick his knee. Yeah. You saw what happened in the Nong-O fight. Do you feel like you answered that question and more?
Yeah, of course. He clearly targeted it in that fight. He was just trying to smash it inside, outside. And I remember when I sat down at the end of round 1 or 2, Richard went, is your leg all right? I went, yeah, it's fine. And I said, yeah, it's absolutely fine. And all my friends were coming up to me going, is your knee all right? I'm going, it's fine. I said, I've told you, I've rehabbed it now. It's back. It is absolutely fine. Don't worry about my leg anymore. But yeah, he clearly targeted it in that fight, and he wasted his time. He did a few nice sweeps and stuff, but like I said, it's stronger than ever now.
And before we speak about just other people dealing with injuries and stuff like that, I do want to speak about your cousin, Nick Howson. I believe you've got a story for me about him dealing with an injury.
Oh, this was probably my fault, actually. So this was in 2012. It was my birthday, and I'd been flown over to Ireland to fight a Martin Hogan show against an Italian fighter, 5th of October. And I said to him, Andy, it's my birthday. He had his leg he just fought in Japan, and he had his leg in a pox. He broke his foot in Japan. I went, Andy, it's my birthday. They've just asked if they need a fighter at 57 kilo. Come and do it. He went, I've got my leg in a pot. I went, please, mate, it's my birthday. And he went, all right. So he made me cut the pot off. This was on the Tuesday.
Are you talking on fight week?
Yeah. This was on Tuesday. He cut the pot off. We flew over on Friday, and he fought on Saturday. He didn't do any training. He did a bit of boxing on fight week. And the worst thing about it, he battered the guy and got robbed blind. And I was like, fucking... The first thing I said to him was, well, Andy, just box him, you'll be all right. Just go to knock him out. I said, don't use your right leg. First thing he did was just start throwing low kicks everywhere. I was like, what are you doing? He went, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, crazily enough, his legs swelled up a bit after, but there were no more breaks and that. But he got robbed blind. I felt a bit sorry for him. He was going, your fault this. You talked me into it. I went, don't blame me.
Do you think Andy's toughness is like significantly underrated and under-respected?
There's something up with him. He's got like the most high tolerance of pain I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, he needed, so the guy who just did my shoulder operation, Simon Boyle, he operated on Andy about 2 years ago because he said it was an injury that he's never ever seen in anyone other than powerlifters who are lifting 200 plus kilo fucking things and stuff. He'd tore his bone, all his muscle away from his bone here, and it had just been like it for months, and he just carried on holding pads and stuff like that. And the doctor had to open it all up inside and pin it all back together and stuff. And he was saying, I have no idea how this guy's just been walking around with that. He should be in the worst pain. And then he said to me as well, he said, that should have finished, Andy. He said, you should have never come back from that. You're back in gym 3 months later holding pads. He's fighting boxing again now.
Yeah.
He needs another shoulder operation. He just found out he did his whole camp with loads of tears in his shoulder. He's got the most high pain threshold I've ever seen in my life.
Do you think that's to do with you and him training at such a young age?
I just think he's fucking not well in head, but there's probably something wrong with both of us.
Yeah. There's definitely something wrong
with the same
both of us.
family, aren't we?
Yeah,
So it's completely in the blood.
Yeah. I've met your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I want to talk about people who, whether they're hobbyists doing Muay Thai, just gym goers, dealing with injuries, having that time out. Whatever advice you have to them, because obviously it's your livelihood, but at the same time, that time out, whether it's the gym, training Muay Thai, that's so good for people's mental health. When that's taken away from you, how do you deal with that?
It's tough. There's always something you can do. When Nong-O smashed my leg to pieces, I came in for 3-4 weeks straight afterwards on my crutches, and I just sat on a box and I just punched pads on a box just so I was doing something, just so it felt like...
Get the heart rate up, is it?
Yeah, get the heart rate up, keep my body moving, or either that or just sit at home sulking and I can't do that, I'll lose the plot. There's always something you can do, just be smart about it. And if it's... That's just for any regular guys who like to gym and stuff like that. Fighters, like I say, work around the injuries. There's so much stuff you can work around in Muay Thai. But again, going back to taking fights, you've got to be smart, because we mentioned the Bobo Sacco fight earlier. I did it in that fight. I broke my rib a month before the fight and I couldn't do anything. And I still took the fight and thought it'd be all right, and I got battered. I just got I couldn't do anything in the fight. And then I'll tell you what, even worse happened in the fight. I shouldn't have took that fight at all, because I couldn't train for a month before it. I couldn't do anything. And then in round 2 of the fight, I split my shin. And round 3, I broke my foot. So then I'd finished the fight. I got a broken foot, leg in a boot, split shin, broken rib. So that was stupid on my part. And that was the last ever time. I think that was 2017. I said, right, I said to Kate, my wife, well, my fiance, I said to her at the time, because we just moved in together then, we just bought our first house, and she was like, look at the fucking state here, like, I'm having to dress you, you can't get up, you can't put your clothes on. He said, was that worth it? He said, why don't you just pull out and wait? And I got a decent bit of money for that fight, and that's what I was saying. I was just saying, oh, I just had that in my head. She went, yeah, but if you'd just waited, you could have probably fought again in a month or 2 later, and other than that, you'd be all right. It doesn't take too long for your rib to heal. You left it a month. Now you've got a broken foot, you've got a big hole in your shin, and your rib's still broke, and probably worse broke. You just got kicked all over the place for 5 rounds. And I was like, Jesus, yeah, she's right.
Did that hit home when she said that?
Yeah, when she said that, she said, I don't want to be living with you, like, nursing you like this, especially when it could have been avoided. She said, obviously you're a fighter. This is what you do. If it happened in a fight and it just happened, fair enough. But said you've gone in there at 40, 50%, knowing that you're probably going to get hurt. But in my head, I went, I'll just hit him on chin and it'll be all right. The most diabolical thing happened when I got over there. You can go watch this fight, me versus Bobo Sacco. They put the biggest, giantest pillow gloves on me. I went, what the fuck are them? And they were like, oh, 12 ounce. I went, no. I said, no. I fight in 8 ounce gloves, mate. I said, no. They went, no, 12 ounce. I went, what the fuck are these? Go watch the fight, honestly. I've got these, I'm sure you'll chop some of it into this. I've got the biggest pillow gloves on. So when I'm hitting him, it just knows what's happening. And to be fair, I should never have been fighting at 67 kilos. And I've said this numerous times. My last fight against Isaac, I weighed in at 62.8 and I did it comfortably. Fighting at 67 against the best fighters in the world, like Bobo Sacco, just fucking ridiculous on my part. I should never have been doing it. And again, I just thought, I'll get in and I'll knock him out. No, they put these big gloves on me and I just got battered for 5 rounds and then broke my foot, split my shin, rib still fucked. So just be sensible fighters. Obviously, you don't want... There's a lot of fighters these days, though, they're pulling out of because I fucking promote and Hitman Fight League, I hear some absolutely diabolical excuses. Me toe, me this, me that. And I just think, fucking people are being pussies. But then there's a fine line between being brave and being stupid. So don't be a pussy, but be smart.
I think that's a pretty good way to end it. The final thing, though, the final thing I do want to ask you is, how much do you think that going through these injuries and still fighting and stuff like that, how much has that added to you as a fighter and a person? What did that give you extra? You talk about Goggins and all these people. What did suffering do for your career?
You know what? Like, obviously, some of the fights, like the Rodlek fight, there were no losers in that. Everyone loved it. Even though I lost on points, it was a classic, and it still is. It still gets played now. The Yamato fight, that was one of the best fighters on the planet at the time when I beat him, and I beat him at like 50%. So mentally, obviously, it's made me feel. It made you feel great after stuff like that. Thinking, I did that at 50%. I had that crazy fight, and I wanted my best. There's a lot of fighters who'll be going through like things like that, and they'll go into fights nowhere near the best. But like you say, you've got to be sensible and smart. And that Bobo Sacco fight just brought me back down to earth, and I was like, right. Especially now I'm getting a little bit old. When I was like 7 years, so I was still like 33 then, so I was still probably past my prime a little bit. So yeah, it made me realise that you have to be smart. Like there's no, especially as you're getting older, like there's no glory in fucking going in absolutely mashed up and then getting battered for 5 rounds going, yeah, but I lasted, you know what I mean? Just be sensible.